ask you a question. Ever thought about making a fishing lure out of a newspaper before? Well, I have. And in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make one. So strap in and let's do this thing. I'm going to start off by tearing 10 centimeter wide strips of newspaper, and I'm gonna make a healthy stack of these so that I have plenty to work on. I'm now going to mix a batch of Mr. Boat epoxy. It's an epoxy that has a 40-minute work time, and you really want something that does not cure too fast with this sort of project. And like with all epoxies, you want to make sure that you mix thoroughly so that the epoxy cures properly. Now it's just a matter of stacking the pieces of newspaper on top of each other and basically laminating them together with the epoxy. It took me roughly 1 hour to stack 1 centimeter high pile of newspapers and epoxy. And now I'm just going to press the pile by clamping them between two pieces of wood. And after one day we have a nice solid piece that I can start to work on. I'm going to start off by trimming off the excess. I've never done a back-lipped lure before, and I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to give it a shot and see if I could make it work. Since the stack of paper I laminated was only 1 centimeter thick, I ended up making the lure body from 2 pieces again, like with the last project. And like with all projects I make, I usually always start off by drawing the profile of the bait. Here's a ghetto trick for all of you who don't have a good selection of power tools. You can just drill a series of holes along the profile and to especially the curvy parts, like the one I have here. Then you can just saw to the opposite ends of the drilled holes, and then basically just snap off the whole thing, and then boom, you have two pieces. And as you can see, I was pretty sloppy with the sawing, so I need to take care of that, and I'm gonna use my multi-tool to grind off the excess. In preparation to join the two halves together, I'm going to sand the surfaces and at the same time roughen them out a little bit so that the epoxy has something to grab onto. So even though the material now is sinking, I decided it might be a good idea to add some keel weight into the bait as well. And then I'll just drill the recess holes for the weight. So I could have used just the same epoxy that I used for the lamination process, but I figured 5-minute epoxy would serve the same purpose equally as well. Once the glue was cured, I just grabbed my multi-tool again and started grinding. Once the profile was sanded, I then moved on to rounding the bait, and I kind of went for a V shape for this bait because I figured I would want to have a lot of belly flash for this sort of lure. and that actually ended up working pretty well. Once I was done with the multi-tool, I then switched on to manual labor and hand sanded the whole bait. Now I know I could have gone with a through wire construction for this bait because it was made from 2 pieces, so it would be easy. But then I just figured that screw eyes would be way easier, so I need to just drill some holes for them to fit into. Usually it's a good idea to fix the screw eyes into the bait with some 5-minute epoxy, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do now. I figured it would be a good idea to have a nice and smooth surface before I started to paint the bait, so I dipped the bait into some 1 part lure varnish. While the bait was drying, I started to shape the back lip. Now I got the idea for this sort of design from Jimmy Wieman's backlip lures that I saw already years ago and always wanted to try something similar. Since I'm a sucker for natural looking paint jobs, I decided to go with a roach imitation for this bait. So yeah, let's sling some paint and make this look like a roach. Now that I'm finished with the airbrushing, I'm just gonna add a couple of eyes onto the bait and make this thing look a little bit more pretty. Before covering the bait with epoxy, I'm just going to attach the back lip onto the bait and yeah, you guessed it, with 5-minute epoxy. I'm gonna use a screw eye to help me keep the lip in position while the glue dries. And also I'm gonna use the screw eye as an attachment point later on when I actually start to cover the bait with epoxy. Now it's just a matter of covering the bait with epoxy, and for this bait I'm using epoxy from Cap Coatings, but obviously any kind of epoxy that you can find probably will work as well. I already knew from early on that I'm just gonna have one treble hook on this bait. So the screw eye goes out of the window and I'm gonna just add a real screw. But before I can do that, I need to make a countersink hole, and I'm just gonna use a quite a large drill bit to make that hole, so everything looks much neater. Now that the bait is pretty much done, I'm just gonna add a hook onto the bait and I'm off to do some fishing. Alright, this is how the new lure looks like when it's fully coated with epoxy, and yeah, let's see how this thing works. I actually already know, but you're gonna be surprised how well it actually works. Like, it's a crazy looking... Whoa, a fish! Whoa! Well, that was well, unexpected to say the least. Super small. It should be easy to unhook this guy. Let's hope they get a little bit bigger than that. As you can see, it started to rain a little bit, and I took refuge under a big bridge actually, which is, well, pretty convenient to be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna hang out here for a little while and wait for the rain to pass. Alright, fish on. This is a little bit bigger than the last one. I think it's probably around kilo. Still not a huge fish though, but I'll take it. Nice little fish. Fish on. No idea how big this guy is, but it doesn't feel very big. It's coming along really easily. Yep, maybe a kilo pike. If I'm lucky. Ah, that was perfect. I'm actually surprised how a lure that is made out of paper can actually catch so many fish. That's awesome. So fun. Anyways, let's catch another one. Wow, that spot looks really good. If I was a pike, I would definitely hang around in here. See if there's anyone home. Nobody seems to be home now. What a disappointment. Alright, fish on, and this guy is on really funny. What's going on here? Okay, are you gonna go nuts now? Nope. Okay, now you're gonna go nuts. Okay, settle down. Hey, this is a little bit bigger than the last one I caught. I'm gonna have to use my pliers for this one. Jeez. Nice. What are you doing? Come on, relax. There she goes. Nice. Actually got a couple of hits before that one. Actually, one of them was really big. I'm really disappointed that I didn't get it on tape, but let's hope I'm gonna be able to get something bigger. What's this? Somebody lost their lure. Oh yeah, there definitely is a lure there. I have no idea what kind of... I think this might be a Vestings lure. I'm not sure. Looks very cheap though, but I think I'm gonna have to take the lines back home because it's, you know, not really a good idea to leave these behind. You know, you gotta take care of nature a little bit. What the heck? Okay. Let's wrap this up and take it with me somewhere. Right, just a better fix. Oh. Damn wind. Dangerously close to the reeds here. It's not going the way I planned. this is pretty decent. Maybe a couple of kilos, I think. Alright, I'm gonna go a little bit further here. Okay. Let's get out. Oop. Still not ready. Wow, this guy has a lot of power. Come on. Jeez. Give it a rest already. Alright. Pretty decent. I think probably 2 kilos, I think. Alright. Get the hooks out. And the hooks are round. Hey, that's pretty nice. Yeah, let's get this guy back. I think he's ready to go. Bye bye.